Aloha. Thank you for tuning into episode number 23. My name is Christina Estrada, partner of Booyah Marketing, where we have deeper connections. Today, our honored guest is Suzanne Kellner Zinck, with 30-year plus of experience working in mental health, specializing in holistic healing through hypnosis, helping clients to quickly address the root causes of emotional illness with traditional mental health approaches have failed. She has innovated in helping anorexics, bulimics, and sex addicts to overcome their disorders permanently and enjoys assisting teens and college age clients who respond well to hypnosis. Public speaker, author, podcaster, a mover and a shaker, setting souls free to live their purpose on purpose. How are you, Suzanne?
Very well. Lovely to be with you again, Christina.
Yes, thank you. So, what is hypnosis?
Well, hypnosis is actually a very natural state. Most people don't realize this. However, it's true. We are in and out of it all day long, from the time when you wake up to the time when you go off to sleep. In fact, when people want to give themselves affirmations, the best time to do it is right before you wake up in the morning and right before you fall asleep at night. In that case, you're giving yourself a hypnotic suggestion instead of just an affirmation. So it will go into your subconscious mind. How it works, and we only learned this, I don't know, probably in the last 10 years or so since we've been able to do brain scans. When I first entered hypnosis, we didn't know. We had a mind model that we explained how it worked. But with the brain scans, we actually do know how it works now. And what we're doing is we're bypassing what we used to call the critical factor of the conscious mind. That's your prefrontal cortex. That's where all your executive functions happen, all your analyzing, your reasoning, rationalization, judgment, it all happens in there. And that's what a person is using when they are talking to a regular talk therapist. I like to call them conscious therapists because I'm an unconscious one. I don't like that word therapist, but basically you get the idea. In any case, what we do is we go into the subconscious mind, and the subconscious is the same as the unconscious, same thing. And that's actually your amygdala, where your emotions reside, and your hippocampus, where your very imperfect memories reside. Now, if you think about this, when you're a child, you can't reason, judge, analyze things because your prefrontal cortex is not fully developed until a person's 25 for females and 26 for males. I don't know why the difference. Maybe men's brains are longer to develop because they're a bit bigger than female brains. However, what we need to understand is that if we have a memory that goes back to these times, not only do we not have these abilities, but we also are unable to really understand another person's perception, because this doesn't come into being until like 7 to 8 years old at the very, very beginning. And even then it's kind of difficult. Kids are learning how to share and to be able to work together at that stage in life. So if you have a memory that's based on a negative emotion because someone yelled at you and you're like 3, 4, 5 years old, imagine how this can screw up a person into adulthood, because basically their 3, 4, 5-year-old self is running them based on that trauma. So what we
Mm.
do is we enter the part of the mind where the transformation can actually be handled. And we don't have any diagnoses. We're not licensed to give them. And by the way, I tell my clients that my job is to take away the diagnosis, which means getting rid of all the negative symptoms that got them the diagnosis in the first place. How different a thought, I know. And we do it without medications, because when people are medicated, at least I prefer to have my clients not be medicated, because when they are on the psychotropic medications, fancy word for psychiatric medications, a medication for mental illness, many times they talk about fuzzy thinking and they have dull emotions. I need them to feel their emotions. A lot of these people have defense mechanisms way up to the freaking sky. And often when I actually am able to help them get their emotions back, they're then angry with me because they don't know how to deal with the emotions, because they hadn't been dealing with them because they were so hurt so many times when they're young that they developed that defense mechanism. So we want them to have their feelings. We need them to be able to be aware of what we are doing. And that's another thing. People are hyper focused on the hypnotist. If I do, and I used to do this all the time when I lived in America, I don't live there anymore, I live in Albania, but when I lived in America and I used to do demonstrations and lectures at Rotary clubs, you'd have people, up to like 100 more people in a room in some of these larger clubs. And I'd have a volunteer answer the question, did you care that anybody was here? The answer is always no. They know they're there. They don't care because they're in that hypnotic state and they're just hyper focused on the hypnotist. So it's basically what it is and how it works.
So how did it come to be?
Well, it's been around since ancient times, actually. As I said, it's part of our natural being.
Hmm.
Now, we didn't have a word for it until the 1800s. I think it was Dr. Braid who came up with the name, but don't quote me on it. I have like no memory even for things I should actually know. But the bottom line is that there has always been a state of trance. If you think about the Africans and their drumming circles and how they
Hmm.
would drum and dance, that's hypnotic state, actually.
Yes.
When people go to church, especially the Catholics, where they have them stand up, sit down, kneel, come up, that's heightened focus on those hands. Doing the rosary over and over and over again, that's a hypnotic state. These things have been around forever. So when these Christians tell me, oh my, satanic, no, it is not. Just
Mm.
because you don't know what it is doesn't make it anything other than you don't know what it is. So let us learn what it is. Very, very important.
Yes. Yes. What are the common myths about hypnosis?
Well, there's quite a few of them, even some of them that are still told by hypnotists who should know better by now. A lot of hypnotists say that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. Yes, we do talk ourselves into a lot of things in our subconscious mind, but I want to be very, very clear with people. There was this person called Adolf Hitler who used a lot of charismatic, shall we say, personality to get people to do some pretty horrific things.
Mm.
We also had this guy, Jim Jones, who was able to talk, I don't know how many hundred or so people into killing themselves and their kids because over and over and over again, they stated the same things over and over and over again, and they did it very charismatically. This is how your advertisers get you repeating the same messages over and over again and getting with your emotions, because when you're hitting the emotions, as we were speaking before, that is putting you into the hypnotic state. So when people are telling you that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, it's bullshit. You need to know hypnosis, because if you understand what hypnosis is, you will not allow these people to enter your brain, including the news and the politicians and all the rest of these people who want to take over your brain so they can control you. Thought what
Mm.
happened with COVID, actually, with all the overstatements of everything and just over and over again. And just, it was just a terrible, terrible thing. One of the reasons I never went back to America, quite frankly, one of many. But in any case, that's one myth. Now, that being said, notice that's not a hypnotist hypnotizing you, okay? That's people in your world hypnotizing you and you're not knowing what it is.
Mm.
When you go to a hypnotist, you know that they're hypnotizing you. That's why you're there. And the suggestions that they give you need to be married to the way that you think and your belief systems. We are taught to match the phraseology, meaning the words people use, the speed that they use, and something that we call basically their predicates, which is some people will talk about seeing stuff clearly, other people talk about hearing things, other people talk about feeling things, and other people be talking about thinking and believing things. So we have to kind of match their language, the way that they go into language, so they'll be able to take the suggestions a lot better. People who study neuro-linguistic programming understand this and they apply that to the
Mm.
hypnosis. Neuro-linguistic programming is a form of hypnosis, although some hypnotists don't know that. And sadly, some neuro-linguistic programmers don't know that. But it's hypnosis because you are, again, bypassing the prefrontal cortex of the brain. That's what makes it hypnotic. Now, I think we need to really understand that we can use hypnosis to do a lot of really, really, really good things. But we have to also understand that we have to be in control of our own mind, our subconscious mind. That's the most important thing I
Mhm.
think that we need to really understand.
Yeah,
The
that's
body,
why it was leading to what is it important to learn what hypnosis is? Like, why is it?
because you don't want other people invading your subconscious mind because they can
Mm.
control you. That's what happened during the COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, what were people doing? They're scaring you. That's emotions. They're trying to get you to take basically a brand new created injection. It is not and never will be what would be known as a vaccine in medical sciences. I did study nursing. We had to learn this stuff. A vaccine has an antibody, dead or alive, in it, and that's what makes it a vaccine. This has none of that. So therefore, it's not a vaccine. I don't care what the CDC said because they all lied anyway. All this is coming out more and more every day now. In fact, President Trump is really bullshit right now because he wants to know why they lied to him.
Mm.
The pharmaceutical companies, the CDC and everything, he said, Operation Warp Speed, he thought it was a great thing. He didn't know. He's not a freaking doctor. He's not a medical professional. How the hell would he know other than, what his advisors tell him? So it's just an example, okay, of how you need to control your own thinking. And because I am a hypnotist, and because I do myself hypnosis, because no one's going to control my brain, I made a decision not to be among people who are trying to control my brain in ways that I don't want it controlled. And worse, invading my body with something that was never tested appropriately, and they lied about what was done and caused a lot of problems for a lot of people, including a lot of young people. That is why you need to have an idea of what it is, hypnosis, and what it is not, and how to protect your subconscious mind from these invaders.
Yes. So why you should do self-hypnosis?
Oh, self-hypnosis is beautiful. Let me tell you something. And there's different ways you can do it, actually. I know I do a pretty simple induction, which takes seconds for me to do at this point now. But induction means just putting yourself or someone else into hypnosis. But you can just do it with automatic writing. I tell some of my clients who have a lot of stuff in their history, or a lot of stuff will come up, they'll get really angry or frustrated or something. I want them to write a journal, and the directions are just write it.
Mm.
No spelling, no grammar, don't care. Just write it. And I usually, although it's better if you write it by hand because it's more connected to your brain this way. But for me, because I don't live in the country and most of my clients are in America, that's where they speak English. They don't speak a lot of English here in Albania, at least the people 30 and over. I have them do it on their computer and then they just send it to me and then I can integrate whatever they write into their journals into the work that I'm actually doing with them because stuff will come out. Now, another thing that's really great about this is that you can get ideas on how to do really cool stuff in your life. I got to Israel not once, but twice doing it this way. I wanted to go to I wanted to go to the Mediterranean. I didn't really care where in the Mediterranean when I was first thinking about it. Because I had a friend who took me to the Mediterranean. We went to the south of Spain. It was very beautiful. I just really, really loved it. And I had a lot of relatives in Israel that I had never met. And it finally dawned on me that my cousin Bill Fern, who's a multimillionaire, would be able to figure out how to get me over there. And he'd probably be very happy to do it. At the time, I'd been going through some pretty hard medical stuff. And before that, I had gone through a divorce. So he knew all of this history. And so what I did, this is like really, really cool. And I tell this to my clients too. When you don't know exactly what to say to get the thing that you need done, right before you go to sleep, you ask your subconscious mind to come up with the words that you need when you need them in that moment in time. So I told my subconscious mind right before I went to sleep, the night before I went to go visit him, hey mind, just give me the words when I'm in front of Bill so he'll understand what I'm asking without me actually having to ask for dime. And he actually felt moved. His words, I feel moved to send you to Israel so that you can meet your family. You can see the entire country. It's only the size of New Jersey, no problem. And definitely go to the Wailing Wall. That's the Western Wall. Because when you go there, you're going to have a spiritual experience. I've been there many times, and every time it's a different spiritual experience. Yeah, I remember it word for word. And this was like back in like freaking
Wow.
2000. Yeah. So that is how I got to Israel the first time. And then the second time, I just wanted to go back to the Mediterranean. I just love the Mediterranean. So what happened was I had found a really cool master's program in peace and conflict management at the University of Haifa International School. So it happened I found it a little too late to be able to apply and do all the paperwork and stuff, especially for an international program. So I couldn't do that yet. But the next year they sent me an invite. I went, I did it, and I went. So that was my second time to Israel. And that was just through writing and thinking about it, just keeping in my head, this is what I want to do. So you can make things happen. You can also envision things like I knew that I wanted to live on the sea with loving people, with beautiful food, in a temperate climate. I got to Israel first, and then I got to Albania. I have the seaside. It's like right here. It's like a less than a minute walk from where
Oh,
I am.
wow. So
Walk up
you're
and down the
just,
seaside with all the resorts and stuff here every
yeah,
15 minutes, except for when it's too hot to do that. So you can create stuff when you know what you want to do. You can also get rid of things in your life, that are not working for you very easily. There's different techniques that you can use just to sort of get a positive learning and let it go. Let the person go. Cut the off
right.
cord.
Which brings up the fact that you're going to be doing a Facebook Live. Did I hear you right early this morning?
Yes, I'm doing
Okay.
Facebook Live. Actually, I'm going to be doing them pretty regularly. I don't have a schedule totally down yet, but I am going to definitely be doing them probably starting on Thursdays
Okay.
at 4 p.m. Eastern time because I'm 6 hours ahead of the East Coast. So, I don't want to be doing this when I'm actually in my sleep. Although I could probably do it in my sleep, but people probably don't want to see me in that state. So, yeah, so 4 p.m. on Thursdays to begin, and I might add some more days. But yeah, I'm going to be doing Facebook Lives. And the really beautiful thing about the Facebook Lives is I'll be inviting people to be hypnotized so they can let go of stuff. And
Beautiful.
we're
So
getting
how do people contact you?
well, I think the best thing that they could do is well, they can email me at Suzanne@dawningvisions.com or they can go on my Facebook page and message me.
Okay. Sounds
That's
good.
comforting.
So just direct message on Facebook or email. So
Yeah,
mahalo nui loa, Suzanne, for your time. Any parting words you would like to say to the viewers?
life can be beautiful when you own your own mind.
I love it. I love it. So, mahalo. I'll put Suzanne's information down below, and the description box. Please subscribe, notification, and thumbs up. If you'd also like to donate to the channel, we appreciate it. It helps us build our content. My name is Christina Estrada, partner of Buyu Marketing. A hui ho. Until we meet again.